Hey, this is Mike here from M Squared Enjoying the Now. In this video, I am going to show you how to install some SumoSprings. And I'll have the link in the description below. And what these do, these will keep your trailer from leaning too much one way or the other when you're going around a corner, hitting a bump. It'll stabilize a little bit more, just like a vehicle does if you have springs on your vehicle or airbags. So these are little compression springs, and they will fit on the top of each spring. So I had to get two kits, and these will just bolt on easily. Kit comes with clamps, attaching hardware, some Loctite, and they even give you hardware in case you have to move a gas line, electrical line, something like that, and get it out of the way. And if you have pretty sturdy springs, your springs have a nice smile to them. So in these kits, they do come with spacer blocks, and you can add those to it in case your frame is too far away. So what I have to do first, we've been here in the spot a few days already. It's nice and level like the directions say. Make sure you're on a level spot. What I'm going to have to do is bring all my leveling jacks up so the trailer is sitting in its correct position. Then I got to take some measurements, and that will tell me the correct distance from the frame, the bracket, and if I have to add any spacers in between there. That way they'll all be the same. And I had to wait now because in the last spot we were at, we weren't very straight, or the pad wasn't very level. This one's almost perfectly level. Even though we're on gravel, it should be pretty easy to do. It's one bolt, actually two bolts. So I'll have the bolt going through here that holds the bracket onto the top of the spring plate. And the other bolt will hold the bracket into the SumoSpring. And like I said, with a little Loctite, that'll stay in there. And these have 500 pounds of compression strength at maximum. I'm getting these because our trailer's pretty heavy. We're close to 20,000 pounds, and we do get quite a bit of sway because we are almost 14 feet high. So going around a corner, you coming in and out of driveways, like here there was a little bit of a drop, so your trailer goes back and forth, and this will stop that from getting too extreme. Some places where I have a lot of trees, go around the corner, it'll lean out. You could hit a nice big gnarly tree branch if you're not careful. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to raise my jack pads, make sure everything's level, take my measurements on both sides. Like I said, I had to get two kits because we have two axles. And then I'll set up down there and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm underneath the trailer now. Here's my springs. Frame is under the corrugated part here, and what I'm going to end up doing is cutting some of this away so that the SumoSprings will rest on the frame and not on the corrugated part. And plus all of these, I'm going to have to shift this wire over a little bit, and then I'll re-spray foam the area around there to seal it back up from any critters. Actually, I'm just going to cut it here and then flop it up inside the frame. So I have to measure from this top of this plate to the frame, and I got 5 1/4 inches from here to here. And now I'll take my measurement on my SumoSprings and the bracket, and I'll put the and then I'll raise the trailer back up, put all the levelers down, get it re-leveled, and then I'll install the springs. So I took my measurement, and the instruction says line your bracket up like so. Put that Sumo spring there, and you'll take a measurement from here, the inside of the bracket, to the top of the Sumo spring, and you want to add 1/4 to 1/2 inch from there. That way when your trailer is under load, your spring will be the perfect loading to start out at. And if you need more distance, you can add these spacer blocks right here. Then they give you the different size bolts to compensate every 1/4 inch. So just happens to come out that this is the perfect height. Got me an extra 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to do is install a bolt through the brackets to the bottom of the Sumo spring, and with a little Loctite. There's the Loctite. A short bolt. So I'm going to do a side at a time. Install the bolts, get it over the spring. So there we have it. Sumo spring mounting brackets. This will go over the leaf springs. And then it's got a little self-locking nut on there. Get it all done. Okay, that's my first Sumo installed. A little bit pain in the butt, because I had kind of squeezed it in there because we are on such a level spot that the leveling jacks aren't taking a lot of the weight off of the spring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the left and right side a little bit. That way I have more room to slide it in there, get everything lined up and tightened up. And as you can see, I cut out a little bit of the corrugation here. That's because my brake line would be right in the way, so if this shifted back and forth, then there would be a possibility that the brake line would get cut. So I just kind of shifted it over. I was going to fill this up with spray foam. Put a little tape on there. I've got some good Gorilla tape covered up so no rodents get up in there, and foam it up. Got the bracket on there, and this shifts from left to right so you can center it on the frame. And that's one of the reasons also that I cut this out, because I don't want the Sumo spring resting on the corrugation here, because eventually it'll wear out and then rip a big hole. So now it's sitting directly on the frame, right in the center. Like I said, this will shift left to right, and then once you're in the center, just tighten it down, and that bolt that's in the center has Loctite on it. So once that dries, this shouldn't go anywhere. So now I'll get the other ones, and I'll have to do the same on these, because as you can see, where they put the brake line is directly over where I need to put the SumoSpring. So I'll do the same, cut out a little spot there so the frame is exposed, and I'll move the brake line over a little bit. Okay, there we go, all 4 installed. There's the driver's side. There's no load on them right now because the trailer is leveled out in our spot. Two on this side. All I got to do now, Mary's bringing some foam home, spray foam, and I'll get the hose all foamed up so we don't get any critters in there, any bugs. Make sure the wire's out of the way. We don't leave for another week and a half or so, so I'll give you an update on how the ride is different. And it only took maybe 5 minutes a side. All you do is pop them over the plate. Pop them over the plate. Tighten one nut down. Tighten the SumoSpring down. And that's it. Just cut the corrugated part out. Make sure it's riding directly on the frame. So that's it for installing the Sumos. Pretty easy procedure. I think it took longer to open the box and get all the parts out than it did to install them. A couple bolts you got to tighten down, and once we're on the road, get to our next place, I'll give you an update on how they acted. Later.